President Cyril Ramaphosa has once again made it clear that his administration will not abandon the controversial Judicial Commission of Inquiry, despite growing criticism over its staggering R147 million cost and the persistent delays that have plagued its progress. For many South Africans, the Commission has become both a symbol of the government's promise to uphold accountability and a reflection of the endless bureaucratic hurdles that often undermine it. The Commission, launched with the aim of uncovering deep-seated corruption and systemic failures within state institutions, has faced repeated setbacks. Hearings have been postponed, key witnesses have stalled their appearances, and legal wrangling has slowed its pace to a crawl. Yet, instead of backing down, Ramaphosa has doubled down, insisting that the expenditure, while significant, represents an investment in the country's democratic integrity. Speaking to reporters outside the union buildings, the president said, "South Africans deserve answers, and they deserve a process that is thorough, independent, and beyond reproach. Yes, it has cost us, and yes, it has taken time, but truth cannot be rushed or compromised." This firm stance has stirred mixed reactions across the political spectrum. Opposition parties, particularly the Democratic Alliance, DA, and the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, have lambasted the delays and ballooning costs, arguing that the Commission risks becoming yet another costly government project that delivers little real accountability. The DA has accused the administration of using the process as a political shield, while the EFF has called it an expensive circus designed to protect those already implicated in wrongdoing. Civil society voices, however, are more divided. Advocacy groups like Corruption Watch and the Helen Suzman Foundation have cautiously welcomed Ramaphosa's persistence, noting that even flawed inquiries can yield crucial evidence that strengthens democratic institutions. Others, however, argue that the drawn-out proceedings risk eroding public trust in the state's ability to act decisively against corruption. The financial dimension of the Commission remains particularly contentious. R147 million is no small figure in a country grappling with unemployment, service delivery failures, and a sluggish economy. Critics point out that the funds could have been directed toward social relief, infrastructure development, or bolstering the struggling healthcare system. Ramaphosa's defenders, however, counter that rooting out corruption is a prerequisite for long-term economic stability, and that justice, even when costly, is cheaper than the price of ongoing graft. What cannot be ignored is the growing frustration of ordinary citizens. Across Johannesburg, Durban, and Cape Town, street interviews reveal a population weary of endless inquiries that seem to yield more paperwork than prosecutions. "How many commissions do we need before someone actually goes to jail?" asked one Soweto resident, echoing a sentiment that has become increasingly common. Still, Ramaphosa remains unmoved. His allies argue that his resolve is rooted in a larger strategy to position himself as the leader who finally took corruption seriously, even at political and financial cost. They highlight that previous commissions, such as the Zondo Commission, though expensive and time-consuming, did expose networks of state capture that might otherwise have remained hidden. Behind the scenes, however, pressure is mounting. Treasury officials are said to be quietly concerned about the ever-expanding budget, while ruling party insiders whisper that continued delays could dent the ANC's already fragile credibility ahead of the next election. For a party battling scandals, internal rifts, and declining voter confidence, the optics of spending hundreds of millions on a commission with no visible end date could prove damaging. Legal experts have also weighed in, with some arguing that the Commission's terms of reference may have been too broad from the outset, leading to the protracted process. Others contend that the very complexity of South Africa's corruption networks demands nothing less than a wide-ranging, meticulous inquiry. As the months stretch on, the country finds itself caught between two competing truths, the need for justice and the impatience for results. Ramaphosa's insistence on pressing forward, regardless of cost or delay, will define not just the legacy of this commission but his own presidency. For now, the president seems determined to weather the storm. Accountability is not cheap, and it is not quick, he told Parliament in a recent address. But it is necessary. History will judge us not by how much we spent, but by whether we had the courage to confront corruption at its roots. Whether South Africans will accept that rationale, or whether they will grow increasingly restless with promises of justice that feel perpetually deferred, remains to be seen. What is certain is that Ramaphosa has staked a great deal of political capital on this commission. Should it succeed in uncovering and prosecuting wrongdoing at the highest levels, it may stand as proof of his commitment to reform. If it collapses under the weight of its own delays, however, it risks becoming yet another reminder of promises unfulfilled.